lead us into the healthy protocols and breathing exercises. So,
thank you so much, Maha. It's an honor to be here. Thank you guys for joining in. So I've been in the health and fitness space for about 17 years, and in many roles. And the last one that really matters is education. So I actually certify instructors through my academy that I run with my better half. Recently we've been putting a lot of effort into understanding the effects of Corona, the COVID-19, and what are the lasting, let's say, symptoms or consequences that we must address after a person tests negative. And obviously, once that happens, we seek to return to our normal lifestyle, right? So we've all, with regards to COVID and symptoms, as we know, there are so many. Literally, if you get a headache or an itch or a cough or some skin redness or some joint pain or whatever, people automatically think, could this be Corona? Because there's so many symptoms associated with the virus. And some of these symptoms actually persist after testing negative, right? After passing through COVID. So to make things a little bit simpler, all of the symptoms or most of the symptoms that are associated with COVID stem from three main issues, okay? Three main physiological issues. The first one has to do with breathing impairment. Very simply put, the respiratory tract gets inflamed, we get that shortness of breath feeling, and so on. And that's very expected. I mean, it is a respiratory virus after all, that's how it enters our body. But what we don't expect is the second degree implication, which is systemic inflammation. That's the second point that I wanted to share with you guys. Initially, we thought that it's just an inflammation of the respiratory system, but that's not the case, as we've learned. In cadaver labs, the virus was found in heart tissue, and we know that it can cause myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart muscle as well. There's still debates on whether that is a prevalent matter or is it just for a few people. But considering the strong connection between our respiratory function and our cardiovascular function, which is the transporter of all those gases, oxygen and CO2, it is foolish to assume that they are completely disconnected and the virus cannot, if not on the first degree level, at least on a second degree level, influence the health of the cardiac muscle and the cardiovascular system overall. So that system-wide inflammation, inflammatory process is the reason why we find muscle aches, joint aches, possible inflammation of the myocardial muscle, possible nerve inflammation as well, which can lead to some of these odd symptoms like losing our senses and so on. So that constitutes those symptoms under that one umbrella of inflammation. And we can talk about inflammation for very long, but in essence, what it means is the body senses that there's some sort of danger within, right? Whether that is a virus, whether that is a lack of a certain nutrient, whether that is a lack of a certain, let's say dehydration can be a factor, lack of oxygen is a factor that can boost inflammation. Stress is a factor that indirectly boosts inflammation. So it can be one, two, or many of these factors that can increase inflammation. And that's very important to keep in mind, because as our capacity to absorb oxygen through the respiratory system decreases, our body's inflammatory state increases. And that is why we might find ourselves sensing a joint ache we haven't sensed in years. And I've had people, for instance, that have knee pain, and I was working with them, and within, I would say, 4 weeks before taking the vaccine, not having Corona, but taking the vaccine, which is a much more mild form of the virus, they were okay. But after they took the vaccine, they experienced that same joint pain all over again, as if we've never met. it went away very quickly. But the fact that it happened is again a strong indicator that indeed, whether it's a mild form of the virus or the virus itself and the inflammatory process that it implies, those old ailments may come back. Does that mean that the problem itself is back? Maybe yes, maybe no. It depends on the problem. But it's not something to be super worried about, because surely the recovery period would be far shorter than the first time we've dealt with that particular issue. So that covers the second category of the inflammation and so on. And the last bit, which is really important, and I cannot state how important it is and how big this risk is, DVT, deep vein thrombosis. The nature of this, this virus is that it actually accelerates the clotting process within our bloodstream. And for those of us that are not active, we run the risk of DVT, deep vein thrombosis, which happens typically in the legs or in the arms. And what it means is basically clots begin to form in our circulation. And if these clots go through the circulation system and then get stuck in one of those tinier vessels that maybe supply a muscle that, I don't know, opens our lid, our eyelid, for instance, or something that supplies, let's say, the heart with oxygen, one of the coronary arteries, right? Then we can risk developing quite an issue. So the only thing that we can really do here, apart from medication, which doctors can prescribe, what we can do is obviously dilute the blood as much as we can, right? And how do we do that? So here's the deal with water, because we can talk about water for ages and water quality and mineral composition and all of that. The only thing that I would like to pass on is first you got to get the quantity right. So principle number one, you got to get the quantity right. So take your weight in kilograms. For example, I'm going to take here a 60 kilogram person, right? And then multiply that number by 0.033. Okay, so that gives us, if it's a 60 kilogram person, that will give us about, let me see if I have my math right, 1.98 liters, or about 2 liters, right? If there's a math teacher out there, feel free to correct me. But it's about 2 liters, and that's basically to function at base level. If there is a workout or increased movement or effort throughout the day, then an additional half a liter needs to be added into the body. If it is a hot day and we're out and about, obviously we'll be dehydrated. We need to add an additional half a liter.
Mariam, this is for men and women?
When it's very hot, then I should put another liter into the body. And therefore, instead of 2 liters, it should be 3. Does that make sense? Yeah. However, this may sound like a lot for many people. So the easiest way to get ahead of the game is to make sure that we start the dehydrated and then keep up throughout the day. Okay? So instead of waking up in the morning and reaching out for the coffee, we would rather reach for the water. And especially, you should get about 2 glasses in, because overnight we tend to lose about half a liter of water through breathing anyway, right? So we wake up dehydrated. If we go to the bathroom, the urine usually is darker in color than any other part of the day. So we want to jump ahead and get a couple of glasses of water. Another tip there is rinse first, because we've stayed overnight and typically there's a lot of bacteria building up in the mouth. So rinse first and then drink a couple of those glasses. The first time is difficult. You feel like I just ingested an elephant, but it's fine. You'll get used to it. And I've had people that literally their pain symptoms dropped just because they hydrated better. Okay, literally within 2 days, their symptoms decreased just because they hydrated properly. We didn't do anything else. So that covers hydration and blood related issues. Today, what we're going to focus is the first barrier, or the first component of this, which is our respiratory system. And there are three components to that respiratory function. The first one is the lung capacity. In other words, how much air can we get in? And that is influenced by our musculoskeletal system and our lung capacity, meaning do we have mucus tissue, mucus formation? Is the lung covered with any tar or any other smoke byproduct, smoking byproduct, etc.? Activated oils, if we smoke shisha, for instance, those can also happen. And if that is, think about it like this to make things a bit simpler. If you have a filter that you want to push things through, right? If you cover a part of that filter with something, then the surface through which you can push something through has decreased, right? Regardless of how much you stretch and you try to open that filter, it's just, you're not going to get more volume through. It just becomes a much harder task. So if you smoke or if you consume other, not worth smoking and shisha and so on, obviously reducing that has a big impact on your breathing, specifically if you suffer from COVID. So we're going to put that to the side. I don't need to talk about that much more. But as far as the musculoskeletal system, it helps to understand what we use to breathe, okay? Because a lot of us have forgotten how to do that. Today, if I ask you guys to take a deep breath, chances are you'll be doing this. You'll be breathing into your chest. Yeah, it's what most of us do, right? Since we're adolescents, we try to flatten those abs to, you know, pose better. And now it's about the selfie. Back then it was about the suit. So what you want to do is to remember that if you look at your kids, and if you remember looking at your kids when they were babies, they never used their chest to breathe. Not once. You'll always see their bellies nice and bulging and just breathing. If you have an animal at home, you'll notice that that's the same way they breathe. And the reason why we do that is because it's more efficient. It is not efficient to get all of these bones in the ribs move. It is more efficient to have one muscle that's shaped like an umbrella. It's called the diaphragm, or in Arabic, the Hijaz al-Hajib, I think it's called. And what happens is it flattens as we inhale, so it contracts, and then it expands and relaxes as we exhale. Okay? And it doesn't work alone. So to make this more apparent, I have here a model. I'm not sure if I can, I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can do this. Can I do this? Yep, here it is. So, all right. Here's my anatomy model. I use this in my courses. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. So here we have this muscle that is highlighted under the ribs. This is the diaphragm. And here we have another muscle that's called the TVA. And today we're going to work with these two. So I'm going to I want to select all of them so I can show them to you guys. And this will, let's isolate those. There we go. So what you see here is basically a cylinder, right? You basically see a cylinder. The diaphragm at the top with the lungs right above. By the way, the heart is right here in the middle, right? Lying on top of this diaphragm. And then underneath, we have these tissues of the TVA. And the TVA goes from the hip at the bottom to the spine at the back. And it connects to the ribs next to the diaphragm. Now, why is this important? It's because these form the inner core, or the inner unit of the core. You notice I didn't mention the core, but the inner unit of the core. And when we breathe, we want to use these tissues. Now, I want to show you guys something really cool. Let me see if I can go back. And if you look at these fibers here of this muscle, you notice that they are parallel to the ground, right? They do not go vertically. So therefore, if we were to do a crunch, they have nothing to do with that. Their role is not to bring the ribs and the pelvis together. Their role is simply to expand. When you expand the belly, they stretch. When we compress in, they contract. And that's what happens. We want the diaphragm, as it flattens, this muscle expands, the TVA expands. As the TVA contracts, the diaphragm expands. So it's this kind of like this dance. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can see in my video. I'm going to get out of the screen so I can show you. Let me stop the share. So, all right, here I am. So if you have the diaphragm at the top and the TVA in front, if the diaphragm contracts, the TVA expands. If the TVA contracts, the diaphragm expands. So it creates like a pump action to breathe in without using the ribs, which is highly inefficient on a day-to-day basis. We only use that kind of breathing when we run from a lion or we feel we're in danger in some way, shape, or form. That's connected to a different part of our nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system. We use that when we're in danger or when we're stressed, which is why a lot of people breathe from their chest, because they're highly stressed throughout the day. And that branch of the autonomic nervous system is the reason why they breathe like so. Then they don't feel hunger anymore and they feel highly irritable. And they have a hard time waking up in the morning and a hard time falling asleep at night, because they're in this constant cortisol enabled nervous state, which is associated with that kind of breathing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on making sure that TVA works well with the diaphragm. Okay, we're going to focus on that. So I want you guys to find a place to sit, whether it's a couch, a chair, or even on the floor. I'm going to use the mat behind me on the floor. Let me see if you can see this really well. And we're going to start with stretching the core a little bit and moving the spine so we really expand. Then we're going to do a few breathing exercises. We're going to focus on 3 or 4 today that you guys can easily do at home and practice these for about good 10 minutes in the morning before the house goes nuts and everybody wants a piece of you. And 10 minutes at night after you shove the kids to bed, and you can take a minute to wind down and take care of yourself. Does that sound fair? Yeah, cool. So let's step back. Everybody comfortable? I hope that's a big yes. There we go. So if you're sitting down, I want you to open the knees wide. Okay. If you're in a chair or on the floor. If you're on the floor, when I say neutral, I'm referring to this posture. If you're sitting on a chair, it's the same thing. I want to make sure that you're sitting on your sit bones and not on your tailbone. Okay? So neutral is on the sit bones. From here, palms on your knees. Let's move the spine a little bit. When you take a deep breath through the nose, inflate the belly and lift the heart to the sky. Inhale. Imagine like the belly is trying to reach me. Yeah. And then exhale, compress in. And then fall back. Inhale. Lead with the belly, not the chest. Follow through with the chest. Exhale, belly in. Pelvis under, ribs collapse, chin comes in. So we get the spine nice and flexed. One more time, belly forward. Nice big inhale through the nose, rise through the chest, expand through the back. Exhale, belly in, ribs down, chin in. We're going to do this one last time. Belly forward, chest up, eyes up, expand, exhale, belly in, ribs down, chin in. Okay, come back to neutral. Check it out, palms together, turn to your left and hold on to your knee. Okay? We're going to do the same thing, but now the spine is rotated. Inhale, belly forward. This will feel a bit more difficult, chest to the sky, and you might feel some tension through the right side of your back. Exhale, belly in, ribs in, stretch through the mid, upper right back. Do it again. Belly forward. Chest up. And again, chin in. Push the belly in. One last time on this side, guys. Belly forward, inhale. Really inflate here. I want to see a nice big karsh. Well, I don't see it, but you know, I'm imagining you're doing it. And then exhale, pull in. Come on up to the center, change to the other side. All right, guys, you want to see a nice big belly, okay? No paparazzis around here. Let's go. Inhale, belly button forward. Chest up to the sky, chin to the ceiling. Exhale, pull in. Beautiful. Do it again. Belly button forward. Chest up. Really feel that engagement now in the left side of your back. And belly in, pull. Pull back and down. One last time. Belly button forward. Up, 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 up to the sky. Inhale as deep as you can. Exhale. Pull down. Exhale. All right, come on back to the top. Time to open the sides. So I want you guys to bring the elbow down to the floor, or if that's too difficult, place the palm on your side. This is easier if you are on a couch, if you're on the floor, and if you're on the floor. If you're on a chair, then reach right besides you, okay? Or turn towards the desk so you can find some support. Reach as far as you can until you feel a stretch through your waist on the opposite side. Do not let the hips leave your support surface. Inhale, lift to the top. As you inhale, I want you to expand those abs, okay? Really stretch through. Reach, reach, reach as far as you can. Now, when we exhale, dive the elbow down. Inhale, reach again overhead. Reach, reach, reach. Don't let the hips leave the floor or the chair or the sofa. Exhale, fall back down. And one more time here. Reach as far as you can. You really make sure the elbow drives the movement. Come on. There you go. And drive down, exhale. With each time, with each repetition, we should be able to increase our range a little bit, okay? Palm on the knee to find support, push yourself away. As a rule of thumb, when you get out of a stretch, you don't want to use the muscles you've just stretched to get out of it, okay? Especially if you went to the very end range of motion. Other side, reach as far as you can, get that stretch through the waist, keep your heart open, belly button, push forward, inhale, reach. Up, 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 up. Oh, I really feel this one. Exhale, down we go. We've got two more of these. Inhale to the top. Reach and open, 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 open. Again, belly button forward. Exhale, drop down. One final time. Exhale. Fantastic work. Okay. So far, we've mobilized the spine. We rotated, flexed, extended, laterally flexed. That's what the spine does. We don't need to do much more than that. Okay. From here, we're going to move on to our first exercise, which is very, 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 very simple. But I need you guys to be on the floor for this. Okay. I'll give you a minute to arrange your location, because we need to be on all fours, okay? I'm just gonna tuck my t-shirt in so you can see my belly really well, because that's gonna be very, 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 very important. So here's the deal. Nothing moves in the body apart from the belly. Imagine you have a nice big balloon in your belly, and as you inhale, you're inflating that balloon, okay? palms down on the floor. We want the spine to be neutral here. How do you get to a neutral spine? Your pelvis needs to shoot to the back, like your sit bones are pointing to the back wall. From here, as you inhale, drop the belly down. Inhale and inflate that balloon. Exhale, draw the balloon in, do not move the spine. Once again, inhale down. Expand that balloon. Exhale. Ribs don't move, hips don't move, spine doesn't move. Once again, inhale. Through the nose, deep into that balloon. Exhale. Inhale. Deep, deep, deep. Exhale. Let out every single milliliter of oxygen. Out, 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 out. One more time. In we go. And out. Okay, take a second, breathe normally. All right, so what we do there, we're basically trying to regain control of the TVA, the structure that I've explained at the beginning of the session. The next bit is we're gonna do another round of this exercise. For those of you that found it really easy, we're gonna modify it to a single arm or a tripod position, which is like so. If you found the first variation challenging, do the same once more. If you're on a tripod, do not let the shoulder drop. Keep your body nice and steady. Here we go. Neutral spine, choose the position that makes sense to you. Inhale, inflate that balloon. Exhale, draw the belly in. Inhale. Exhale, pull out. Ribs don't move, ladies and gentlemen, instead, in case some dads are listening now or later. Inhale. Inflate that belly. Exhale. Draw it in. Change arms if you're in a tripod position. Continue. Inhale. Deep, deep, deep in the belly. Exhale. Once again, inhale. Exhale. Draw it in, draw it in, draw it in all the way. Two more times. Inhale. And out. Last time. In. And out. All right. Come on back. Take a few breaths. Calm down. Take a second to note how you're feeling. You might feel even anything from a headache to lightheaded. You might see white spots. We feel that quite a bit. Just take a note on what's going on inside the body. You might feel, by the way, calm, right? You might feel calm, like emotionally calm. And that's a consequence of breathing in this manner, because it's the exact opposite to that chest stressful breathing state, okay? So we're regulating again our autonomic nervous system. We're calming down our physiology. Take this exercise as the first thing we've got to do in your 10-minute routine for a good 2 minutes or so, right? Or 15 breaths. Tamam? That will be the first sequence. The second one, the style doesn't change, meaning we're still expanding that belly and pulling in. but we're going to change how we're inhaling, how fast we're going to inhale, how fast we're going to exhale. Okay? When you inhale, we want to do 3 in breaths. When we exhale, we're going to take 10 seconds to exhale. Then we breathe comfortably. Then we're going to do it again. Okay? The idea here is to get that diaphragm to contract 3 times on the way down, and the TVA to push in gradually with control for a good 10 seconds. 1 palm on the chest, 1 palm on the belly. Do not allow the chest to move. The palm is there to tell you if you do so. Inhale, 3 in breaths. Ready, set, go. Deep in the belly, exhale for 10. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally. One more time. Ready to go in 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 3 times. Exhale for 10 seconds. Through the mouth, nice and slow. 5 more seconds. 4 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally. Typically, when I ask people to do this, they do this thing. Have a look. They do this. Right? They start using their chest, because when we ask about speed, when we ask for speed, we tend to use the chest. What we want is this. Look at my belly. Right? I'll do it slower. Literally 3 stages on that breath. Just wanted to clarify to make sure there's no confusion. Once again, palms on the chest, palm on the belly. In breath through the nose, 3 in breaths. Ready, set, go. In and out. 10. Through the mouth. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. We're going to chain them, go straight into an in breath in 3, 2, 1. 3 in breaths. Let's go. Hold and out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. 3 in breaths. Let's go. In. Nice and deep and out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. You have 1 more. 3, 2, 1. 3 in breaths. Go. And out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent work. Breathe normally. It is common to start feeling warm in the core, starting to feel warm in the belly. Okay, it's perfectly fine. And in fact, this is if we breathe calmly and deeply in the middle of winter, guess what? You're not going to shiver as much. Okay, because indeed, if you breathe properly in this fashion, we're going to increase the temperature of our core, and shivering doesn't need to occur. That's a reflex to get our body warm. It doesn't need to occur as much if we breathe properly. So in a sense, if we shiver, chances are we're not breathing. Yeah, that's just an indicator. All right, so that's this exercise number 2 that you can take with you. If 3 in breaths are too difficult, do 2. And then out for 5 seconds instead of 10. Okay, just so everybody can start at their own level. I'm going to add one more exercise. Okay, we're going to add one more exercise, and this is about holding the breath. Okay, we do that to keep the TVA engaged and then the diaphragm engaged at both ends of that in breath and out breath. So in breath and hold for 5 seconds, exhale fully, hold for 5 seconds, and repeat. We're going to attempt to do that 4 times. Let's go. Ready? Exhale fully. Inhale fully. And hold. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale fully. Deep in the belly, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last time. Inhale fully. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a break. Just restore, calm down the body. If you feel some of that shortness of breath, let's try to calm it down now. We're going to do another round of 4, and that concludes the 3rd exercise for today, and we're going to leave it there. So you have 3 to work with, each one of them focusing on a different aspect of your breathing mechanism. All right, here we go. One last set of 4, and then we'll be going to questions. Ready? Exhale fully. Inhale fully. Let's go. And hold. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale fully. Inflate that belly. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. And hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One last time. Inhale fully. Deep, 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 deep. Exhale. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. All the way in, all the way in, all the way in. And hold for 5, 4. Notice that the spine is still neutral. 2, 1, and breathe normally. All right. So those are the 3 exercises. Quick recap. The quadruped. Inhale to the floor, inflate the balloon. Exhale, don't move anything. Don't move the pelvis, don't move the spine. Don't move the ribs, okay? Just bring the belly in. That's exercise number 1. Number 2, seated. Inhale 3 times in. 3 deep breaths. 3 in breaths. 10-second out breath. Option, 2 in breaths. 5-second out breath. And the last one, inhale deeply. Hold for 5. Exhale deeply. Exhale fully, sorry. Hold for 5. Repeat for 4 times. So those are the 3 exercises that I encourage you to do to increase your diaphragm function and your TVA function, so you can increase that lung capacity and increase the surface of that filter that I spoke about at the beginning, through which you can absorb more oxygen if your lungs can engage with more air, right? And here's why this is really important. If the virus affected the lungs, they affected a portion of the lung, right? They did not affect the entire lung. And if we can manage to get more air in, it makes more sense that we can get more oxygen to travel in the body. We get more oxygen, we can get more energy. We get more energy, we accelerate our recovery, we reduce that inflammatory state, right? And the bonus of this kind of routine is, I'm not sure if you sense that, but chances are you might feel more emotionally balanced. If you were a bit angry when we started, and sometimes we are, and this is what I really recommend to do so you can really calm down your nervous system. Very few other things do apart from medication. And this works really, really, really fast. And you know, in the past, if I were to go into a meeting, or one of my teammates were used to go into a meeting and they were for some reason upset, then this is something that they could do to level themselves. So the benefits are many, and it's just air. It's kind of free. We can just make use of that whenever we want, wherever we want, even in the car. So I encourage you guys to breathe with intent, and I'm sure this will yield tremendous benefit. Much more on how this can help your fitness and your strength and save your spine if you're going to plan to lift and train in the gym, because breathing well is the foundation of core function. Yeah, you cannot have, so when you see these guys with the belts around the belly and then they lift heavy, the belt that they're trying to assist is the TVA. They cannot engage that really well, so they add this belt around the waist. Guess what? It doesn't do the same job. It's not as safe as a TVA, and typically they end up injured. So there are tons of reasons why you would want to do this. And with that said, I'm happy to go to